It's March the 2nd, day 15 for me back on the trail. I just left the shelter. It's about 7:30. This area through here, it looks interesting. It's a different kind of forest than what I'm used to more in the Franklin area. The trees are not very tall, and it almost reminds me of an apple orchard, the way they're just sort of spaced out and there's not much weeds or anything growing in between them. It's a pretty area here. My goal today is to make it to the refuge hostel in Roan Mountain. It's about 12 miles. I don't know if you can see that out there in the distance. That is pretty. I've got some uphill, but I don't have as much elevation gain today. I think I've got less than 2,000 feet of total elevation gain today, so hopefully it'll be a decent day. The weather forecast was not looking good yesterday, but I think the rain is I'm hoping the rain will hold off until tonight, and I'll be safe and warm and dry and happy in the refuge hostel. I know I won't always have the luxury of being in a hostel when it's bad weather, but why would you not want to be in one if it's an option? Visibility is not too good, but this is another one of those high elevation grassy balls. I've been meaning to say this. I had a wildlife biologist one time tell me that it is believed that these high altitude or high elevation grassy balls are where the bison used to live when they lived in the eastern mountains, the Appalachian mountains. I thought that was very interesting and highly believable. I was going to also say that at the end of yesterday marked the 2 weeks of me being on the trail, back on the trail. And in that time, I've done 142 miles. I would have liked to have gotten more, but realistically, I'm not too displeased with that. I'm hoping over the next 2 or 3 weeks that I'll be able to build up to the point where I might be able to be doing maybe 100 miles a week. That was sort of what I was hoping to do. Of course, I know when I get up to Vermont and New Hampshire, I probably won't be able to do that. But we'll see. What makes that kind of footprint? I think that track back there might have been wild hog. I'm getting a little lower down the mountain and visibility is improving. I have just crossed Little Hump Mountain and Hump Mountain, and they were both just about completely bald, just all grass and beautiful. I had no idea. I never knew that there was that much bald acreage at the top of these mountains. That was really awesome to see. I wish I could have it been clearer, because I know that would have been beautiful up there, but sometimes you just miss out. But this would be definitely a place that I would love to visit again. I'm glad to be off the mountain though, because it was windy and cold up there, and so now it's sort of not quite as windy. Right now it's 11 o'clock, and I guess about halfway through with my day's hiking, but the rest of my hiking is about all downhill. Although sometimes downhill, as you can see, can be a little bit difficult, just step downs and roots and things. But when I went to bed last night, it wasn't raining, but sometime around midnight, I think, it started raining, and there's times it rained pretty hard. And it rained all the way up until when I got up, it was still raining. Put my stuff together, and I was planning on just heading out in the rain, but right about the time I was ready to head out, the rain stopped. And so far today, I have not been rained on. I can see a town down there. I don't know if you can see it through this video or not. I don't know what town it is, but it's might be Roan Mountain, Tennessee, or it might be like a community out from Roan Mountain. I'm gonna be real quiet in just a second. I don't know if it'll come through on the audio, but I can hear just like a river of water running right underneath me right now. This isn't the final time I'll be leaving North Carolina. There's one more time, and then I'll be leaving my home state. That's a big old rock. I realized that at the end of the videos that I made for days 12, 13, and 14, that I didn't give you the vital information, and so I wanted to go back and do that. So for day 12, I hiked out of Uncle Johnny's and I hiked into Cherry Gap Shelter. That was 17.2 miles, and I had 5,127 feet of elevation gain. It was a pretty rough day. Day 13, I hiked out of Cherry Gap Shelter and I hiked to Hughes Gap, and that was 12.7 miles. And that day I had 2,927 feet of elevation gain. Also, at on day 14 when I hiked from Hughes Gap to Stan Mary's shelter. That was only 10.1 miles, but it was a pretty tough day because I had 3,175 feet of elevation gain. That's the day that I went over Roan Mountain.